Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Music of the Week. Yes, I have the Fat On It's still surprisingly hot even though it's raining outside. I have about 6 albums to go through as always, so I'm going to go through them as quick as I can manage. We begin with Beabadoobee, which is the stage name of Beatrice Louse, and her new album, This Is Out Tomorrow Moves. This is her third album. I've heard about her before, mostly through just internet osmosis. And I quite like this one. I'm gonna get a B plus. Beabadoobee is usually like more of a sort of indie rock artist. I like a lo-fi vibe, but she plays guitar quite well. She's a really good singer. She's a very charming performer as well. And she's only 24. I think she was probably just turning 24 at like maybe the post-production stages of this album. And yeah, really liked it. I did find her performance quite nice. I think the album's biggest strength is its maturity, and the main lyrical theme of learning to accept yourself is really, really good. You know, just learning to move on with the time. I do like the riffs and I do like the pacing. I do feel like it's a little bit padded though, and I do like the experimentation, but there is a bit of a lack of urgency to keep things going, which is ironic considering the album's title. But you know, that's all really good, and the production's nice as well. It's held by Rick Rubin and someone else's name I can't remember, but you'll see it in text form. Yeah, this is just a really good bit of indie rock, and really glad I got to Beabadoobee when I did, especially considering how mature this album is for her. I think I picked a really good jumping on point for her. Next is a band called Belong with their new album Realistic 9, or IX. It's weird to call it 9 considering it's their third album and their first one in 13 years. This is a drone-based shoegazy sort of duo from New Orleans. And I'm just going to read this bit I actually wrote in the Discord review I did for it. It has vocals and lyrics, but no actually discernible themes that you can research into. It has beats and production that seesaws a lot in terms of quality. It's dragged out, but tries to keep things interesting, but just makes it sound weird. And the duo themselves barely feel like a factor. And yeah, this is all what I've what I've written, and I will continue with it because I can't think of anything myself to say about the album. Except for, it might be the most inconsistent album I've ever heard, and its only consistency is its inconsistency. It is the most consistently inconsistent thing I think I've ever heard. Not just this year, but maybe fucking ever, and as I say here, it felt like a bunch of noises just happened at me, and I got very confused. And this is, I think, the only album from the 6 I covered that I didn't go back to because I was just too scared. Really, I was just too scared my head wouldn't stay on a swivel. And yeah, I can't really think of anything else to say about it other than what I wrote, so I'm just gonna give it a C minus grade and move on. Because what was this? Who is this for? Next we have Dune Rats with their new album If It's Stuck Stand It Up. This is a pop-punky sort of band from Australia, and they're a band I've always just really liked since I first heard about them in late 2019-ish. So I haven't been listening to them for that long, but they're still a very fresh act, and they're a very fun pop-punk band to listen to. I'm giving this one the tied highest grade of the episode, which is an A. I really like this. It is usually what the band do. It leans into their goofball, silly sensibilities rather, and it's handled really well. They're still a very entertaining trio with a lot of chemistry between the three members of the band. The lyrical themes, I mean, there's not really much to go on, but the way that they're written and like the humor and sarcasm within them is pretty much the band's signature thing. They're still like big goofy idiots, and I love them. Really like the pacing overall. It is a bit more experimental than what I'm used to. It's got more like a slow down parts, but it's still got that really fast punk energy that they can hit you with from out of fucking nowhere. And it's got a good balance to it in that regard. I like a lot of the riffs too. I like the more melodic focus on them. And yeah, the production's just really like light and breezy feeling. So if you've heard anything about Dune Rats, go and listen to this album if you like them, and if you've never heard about them, go and listen to this album, you might quite like it. Next we go to Jamini for Earthship and their new album Soar. I thought this was a debut, but this is like the band's 6th album. They've actually been quite busy, and they haven't been around that long. And I'm giving this one a B+. I quite enjoyed this one. This was a nice tasty bit of sludgy doom medley stuff with slight elements of stoner and hardcore and noise rock. It's got this really unique mixing pot, and I will say this about the album, like right at the gate, it's got a ton of style. Like the riff work is incredible. The bands all do really well, especially the lead singer. He's got this really nice low guttural growl to his register, and he exploits it really nicely on here. But it is ultimately a style over substance album. The production does feel like it does. It feels like it focuses a bit too much on the instrumental types, but I like the dense mix, you know. I think it is handled quite well, and the vocals do manage to stand out among the sound editing. I think the pacing is pretty solid, although there is a fair bit of wankery at times. And I couldn't find really anything on lyrical themes, so I quite like the impact. And the band do sing in English, which is very helpful. Well, I say this thing, they scream low and gutturally in English, but it still works. Yeah, just really unique riffs as well. Love how heavy it is. I do wish like a few of the songs had been cut down for time, because it's only 8, but it's like a fairly long album for an album with only 8 songs on it. Like a couple of the songs do sort of outstay their welcome, but it's still a really unique mix of styles, and it is a very stylish album overall. So if you just want something that you're not really going to think about, but you are going to just vibe to, this is an album that's going to do that for you. And speaking of style over substance, next we have 4 Year Strong and their new album Analysis Paralysis. Now, I really like 4 Year Strong. I don't think this is their best album, though. I think this is my least favourite of the last 3 albums that they put out, between this and Brain Pain, which is their best one, and their self-titled one in 2015. I'm giving this one a B+. I liked it. I really, really did. I thought it had some of the heaviest riffs that the band have ever penned. It's got some unique pacing. There is some weird stuff that they throw in, and I like that they're trying to experiment with that. You know, they did that really well on their self-titled and on Brain Pain, and it worked. The problem is that it does a lot of really good build-up and doesn't really do a lot with the payoff. And the production is mostly pretty good. I do think it's a bit too washed over, but Will Putney is a really reliable producer for this kind of music anyway. I think he's more reliable when he's doing more straight up metal stuff, but you know, trying to sound out melodic hardcore pop punky sort of thing is also a really good vibe from him, and the band is still really good. Vocalists and guitarists Dan O'Connor and Alan Day, both doing vocals and guitar, still have that chemistry that they never really lost, you know. And I like that they're screaming a little bit more in here too, and I like that there's a bit more experimental look, but the album doesn't give itself enough time to really justify that. And also in terms of lyrics, this might be their weakest album in terms of that, because usually they like to use really clever contradictions. It's always something I've picked up on their writing, considering how long I've been listening to them. But it's not really there on this one. It feels a bit more predictable and cliche, and I don't really like that. But, oh my god, my hair. But you know what, 4 Year Strong is still a really, really good band. So, I kind of recommend giving this a spin, and I don't dislike it as much as most other people seem to. It just took a while for me to get accustomed to it, even after a few listens, and even then, I still feel good about it, I don't feel great about it. And finally we go over to Canada for Fucked Up and their new album Another Day. So this is sort of a follow-up to an album they did last year called One Day, and they recorded that album over the space of what is technically 24 hours. It was like 3 different 8-hour period sessions, but it still counts as 24 hours, and this album gets the other A of the episode. I really fucking like this one. I think I liked it a little bit more than One Day, and I liked One Day a lot. I'm assuming this one was also made in 24 hours. The unique thing is, though, this isn't directly a follow-up to it, because they released an album called it was like something Time and a Half or something, like last week, and it was only available on the band's Bandcamp for 1 day. And that was it, and then they took it out, and there's no, it doesn't exist anywhere at all. There's no Spotify page of it. It might be on YouTube, I don't know. But goddamn! So technically they released an album I'm not going to be able to listen to, but I was able to listen to this one and I fucking loved it. I really loved the themes of growth and just trying to again move on in life like they did have on their last album. Really enjoyed the band's chemistry. Damian Abraham is an incredible singer. I love his sort of punky, grunty register. This is a hardcore punky act, by the way. I don't know why I say punky instead of punk. I guess punky is just a bit more fun to say. Yeah, really enjoyed it though. The band's chemistry has never really left. I like the sort of positive and uplifting vibe of the songwriting as well. It doesn't feel like empty, pretentious platitude bollocks. It actually feels like, no, you fucking got this. You can fucking do this because I'm in the same situation. I'm going to get through this with you. I like that style of writing, and it's so rare to see it when a band tries to do positive writing. But no, in this case, Fucked Up managed to actually do it quite well. This is a very uplifting album in that sense. Really great production as well, produced by the band's guitarist, Mike Haleychuk, I think his name is. Really good riffs as well. I do think maybe, at times, the riffs blur a little bit, and maybe, at times, the pacing does need a tiny bit of maybe it needs a tiny bit of work, but again, I just feel like I have to nitpick shit because of how I write my reviews on Discord these days. I don't like having to fill in the cons section, but I feel like I have to justify it with something, You know, because if I don't say anything for it, I think it just makes the reviews I do a bit less interesting. But still, really good album, and you should absolutely go and seek it out. I really fucking enjoyed it. That'll about do it. Next is for the official ranking system, which everyone cares about. So I'll have to go with, at the bottom, Belong with Realistic IX. After that, I'd have to go with probably For You Strong with Analysis Paralysis, then Earthship with Sword, then BBDB with This Is How Tomorrow Moves. And for the top two, I'd have to go with June Rats if it took to turn it up, and then Fucked Up with Another Day at the top. But as always, go listen to all of these yourself and formulate your own opinions, because again, that is what makes this shit just interesting in general. Favourite album cover goes to June Rats with If It Sucks, Turn It Up. I just really like the cartoony look of it, and I didn't notice it until a few times I'd looked at the cover. The curtains for the stage that they're performing on looks like a giant mouth, and there's lampshades that look like eyeballs, and I don't know, I like a really good hand-drawn cover with a lot of detail like that. Favourite song goes to Tell Yourself You Will from Fucked Up's album. I really like it. It's the third song in. The closing song is also really good, but Tell Yourself You Will is just a really fucking good, exemplifier of the main theme of the album. You've got my back, I've got yours, let's get through the hard shit together. That's what the song feels like, and I really enjoy it. And that'll be it for me. Next thing I'll see if it will be tomorrow for Over the Top. I cannot wait. It's going to be an incredible show. I need to actually make the arena because I haven't done that yet. And, yeah, I'll see you all tomorrow for that. And, as always, thank you for watching, you're awesome. Bye-bye.